Okay, cool. Let's talk all about it.
Hello, and welcome back to Real Horror Show. I'm your host, Samantha, joined by the Stormy Skies.
Hello, listeners.
So we finally finished season 3 of the originals. It feels like 3 years since we started it.
It takes exactly 1 year to get through one season because there's so many episodes.
Like,
let's be real.
So watching these last few episodes that I needed to watch today, I kept thinking, oh shit, so the Rebecca Madness thing was also this season. That seemed like 6 months ago, but okay.
Still happening.
But I guess that's just how you used to watch TV back in 10 years ago.
Yeah, 22 weeks of TV.
Possibly more
22 episodes like once a week.
Yeah, possibly more because they would take like mid-season breaks, right?
Yeah. Yes. So actually we're like doing it in real time, watching it.
Yeah.
Maybe faster.
But, yeah, we finished season 3, and I will say I did like the last few episodes of season 3.
Yeah, I still the heat.
Yeah, I still feel the way I did the last time we talked about it, which is I don't know if the originals were good characters to make a long form TV series about.
I agree.
Because ultimately the plot lines are always going to be the same. It's the sire line is broken, let's try and kill the originals. Or more so, it's Klaus's sire line is broken, so let's kill Klaus. And it just changes who wants to kill Klaus. Sometimes it's Elijah, sometimes it's not a family member.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And if it's not them wanting to kill, the only thing that's like keeping the momentum is like, okay, we've got a new season. So that means more of Klaus's enemies are coming at us. So we have to deal with it. And that's like it.
And I feel like season 3's finale finally kind of got to the whole point of Klaus's enemies coming to kill him, with, spoilers, Marcel becoming the big bad guy and having a trial with a lot of Klaus's sire line. Obviously, we lost the Salvatores. They weren't a part of it.
Yes.
Because I don't know exactly timeline-wise where I know where we are. Theoretically, we're now officially in the 5-year time jump.
Yeah.
But when Elijah and Finn go to Mystic Falls, I'm guessing Elena was already asleep.
Or asleep, yeah, I guess so.
Because Matt had exiled all the vampires out of Mystic Falls, and I think that happens after Elena falls asleep.
Yeah, because when you got to that episode, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. Because it's just like Matt and everybody else is kind of gone. Yeah,
which Matt was a very pleasant cameo. I wasn't expecting that.
It was nice to see. I mean, why go to Mystic Falls otherwise unless you'll have that nice little cameo? So I wasn't sure who it was going to be, but it was him. So that's cool.
And Matt. Speaking of that episode, I know you finished a while ago before me. They keep referring to Mystic Falls as in Northern Virginia. However, there is a moment at one point in time where they're looking at a map of Mystic Falls in the Vampire Diaries, and it's like an hour or so outside of Lynchburg, Virginia. And that is nowhere near Northern Virginia. That is still 3 hours away from Washington, D.C. It's 2 hours from me. So that is still Southern Virginia.
Yeah. Isn't that like more like also, is it more central too? Or like more towards like Richmond? I don't know. Definitely not Nova.
Yeah, it's not a Nova, definitely, because we took a weekend trip to Lynchburg and it was like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, dang.
So that's still Southern Virginia.
Okay, gotcha.
Vampire Diaries writers.
Yeah, geez.
But yeah, I like this last half. I think Aurora is still dumb, but I like the idea of Lucian wanting to be better than the originals and creating a way to do that. And then Marcel takes the serum, because there's been this whole drama brewing with Marcel and the originals where sometimes he likes them, but sometimes he's also trying to kill them. So finally, we're getting to the part where they're just enemies, and hopefully they hug and make up by the end of the series.
Yeah, I really hope they do, because like they do have such history, but he's super mad because
they killed Davina.
Yeah, if you just want to get into it, they killed Davina for, so they, okay, well, all right, it's just so much, but Lucian,
everybody fucking died.
It's bad, and Davina's power was the only thing that could kill him while Davina was stuck in witch Deathland, and she was trying to come back, but she had to stay there so we could use the power to kill Lucian. And so in turn, Davina also died. And then now Marcel is very mad. And yes, and so she's dead. And then also before she died, what's her face is dead too.
Yeah, Cammy fucking died.
Yeah, Cammy died. How did she die again? She got bitten by Lucian or something.
She got bitten by Lucian, and since Lucian devised a serum that's made up of the blood of all 7 werewolf packs plus vampires or whatever,
like venom and stuff, so like super crazy stuff.
He is a stronger version of what Klaus used to be before Klaus stopped being a hybrid. I can't remember if Klaus is still a hybrid. I'm just going to assume he's not because it's not brought up very often.
No, he is a hybrid. He is.
Okay, he's still a hybrid?
Yes,
so
he is.
So Lucian becomes a stronger hybrid than Klaus, meaning his wolf bite cannot be cured by anyone's blood, including his own blood. Yeah. And he bites Cammy, and that's how Cammy dies and how they figure out there's no cure for this type of wolf bite, which death means nothing in the Vampire Diaries universe, so she'll be back probably by episode 15 of season 4.
Yeah, she's already in a flashback in like episode 2.
Good, exactly.
So
death means nothing. Including at the very end of the Vampire Diaries when everybody's just hanging out in Mystic Falls as ghosts.
Yeah, I know, they're in like heaven.
But
oh god.
After they kill Davina to kill Lucian, Marcel is justifiably angry. So he and Vincent decide to work together to, 1, get rid of the connection to the ancestor witches, and 2, get rid of the Mikelsons. Yeah. And that involves him drinking the serum that was intended for Aurora. I haven't brought up Aurora because she's nothing to me.
She's like gone. Is she gone away?
I don't know. I was working on the table numbers for the wedding. So I looked down from the TV and she's just gone suddenly.
Yeah, I forget where she is, but I
know she didn't want to become a super original without her brother because her brother is still drowning at the bottom of the ocean.
Maybe she is captured again or killed, but I don't know. I don't remember.
She was probably killed. Like, remember when Tyler made a cameo in an episode and then just kind of disappeared?
Oh, yeah. That was lame. Tyler's such a loser. Get this guy out of here. The only thing I care about right now is literally the relationship between my favorite guy,
Elijah,
and the girl,
Haley,
that he likes. Yes, Haley. Sorry, it's been a while. Yeah, the other hybrid.
They're coming back together because at first she felt bad over Jackson, her arranged husband's death. And she's like, I can't be happy because he knew I was in love with you and he knew that and still loved me anyway. But now she's over that because now that's kind of stupid logic.
Yeah, she's cool with it now. She's like, I can have sex with Elijah whenever it's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so Marcel becomes a super original after Elijah rips out his heart because Elijah knows that Marcel's going to be the one that betrays them and kills them. And Klaus is mad about that. But then Marcel had already drinking the serum, so he comes back and they hold a trial for Klaus. Elijah's been bitten by the super werewolf venom. Cole is back and was bitten by the super werewolf venom. Freya was poisoned, so she's dying.
I keep reading she's like a human or a vampire.
She's a witch. So witches are humans, so and so they decide to use Klaus to put themselves asleep, kind of similar to how Elena was put to sleep in Vampire Diaries. So Klaus is going to keep them alive in like a purgatory while Haley spends the next 5 years looking for a cure for all of their ailments.
Yep.
And Klaus is sealed away in a tomb.
Yes, he is, but he's alive.
He's alive.
He's just in pain. Of course, because he will not be killed.
And Rebecca came back to help with the whole plan because she knew Marcel wouldn't hurt her.
Okay, I forgot because I had like such a gap between watching the end and then watching the middle. What happened with her like madness thing? Like how did that happen? And why
I
isn't it
can't
going
remember
away?
I can't remember how it happened, but um they tried to make it go away, but it came back, so that's a curse they
Oh,
need to figure out.
okay,
And I know
gotcha.
from the little bit of episode 1, season 4 I watched, Haley figured out that she can just have a witch siphon it, which makes sense because none of the witches in New Orleans would work with the Mikelsons.
Right, right.
So she had to find an outside witch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the bar or
Yeah.
whatever, where the witches
Yeah.
hang out. Yeah.
So that's season 3 of the originals. We got 2 more seasons of this. I don't know how we can do 2 more seasons of Let's Kill the Mikelsons.
I know. I think season 5 has less episodes than the
Probably.
rest. Am
Probably.
I
That
right?
makes sense.
Is it? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I haven't looked, but that makes sense. Usually, because
I think I
the
saw
final
that.
season of the Vampire Diaries had fewer episodes
Yes,
than the rest
yes.
of the seasons.
Yeah, this season probably has like 22 again, but I think the next season has maybe like 16 or something, like a little bit less,
Oh yeah,
which is
that'll be fine.
great. Thank
That'll be
you.
great.
Gosh. Then we have another one coming up after this, which is the Legacy or whatever it's called. What is it called with
Yeah,
their
it's called
kid?
Legacies, and I think that one's
Legacy.
only. I want to say that's only 3 seasons because it got
Ugh,
canceled.
even 3 is still seems like a lot. Oh my gosh.
We can do it, and then we'll find some
Okay.
other weird horror adjacent show to watch.
Okay. Cool. Well, we're in the home stretch, I think, because we're past the middle mark.
We
So
are,
excellent.
because we're past the time jump. And I gotta say, I've heard Julie Pleck's not a very good person, and I can
Me too.
say I can safely come to that conclusion based on how she treated the actress who plays Bonnie in the Vampire Diaries, and the
Yeah,
fact
Cat
that
Graham.
she apparently didn't even want to cast people of color in the series. I don't know if
Dude,
that's a rumor, if
what?
that's ever been confirmed, but I kind of get the vibe with how she was constantly trying to kill Bonnie. Maybe
Yeah,
that's the case.
right.
Um, but I do think it takes some talent to have 2 shows running in a similar timeline and figure out a way to cohesively both make them do the 5-year time jump that we have.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Um,
I'm sure
so
she
good
had
on her.
help though.
Oh, that's what we could watch after the Legacies if we're not
What?
tired of watching vampire shows. She adapted Vampire Academy on Peacock.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I would love to watch that because those were
You
some of my
like
favorite books.
yeah, you like Vampire Academy.
I
There, we
do.
solved the problem.
The movie, they made a movie and it was good and they wanted to make the and I was more interested in the sequel and they couldn't get money so they actually did like a Kickstarter and they didn't make enough money to even like
Hmm.
try to make a sequel, which really bummed me out, and that was years ago now, so I'm glad they're doing a fucking show.
Yeah.
Because I love the novels, and the novels uh there was a spin-off novel created based on one of the male characters from the Vampire Academy novels, and he
Ooh.
was like the most interesting character, and so I never got to see who they cast as this person because he would have been in the sequel and they never got there, so I'm excited to see if like they work it out. But in saying that, the people that were cast in the movie were like excellent for the roles and how they look. So I don't know how they're going to replicate that or like use people again, or like we'll see what happens. So
Hmm.
I can't wait to do that.
Yeah.
Is that
But
show out already?
I think the first season's out.
Oh shit. Okay, cool. I'll just look it up. But yeah,
But
let's do it.
let's
Put it in the doc.
go ahead and declare our next movie review.
Okay. It's gonna
It is
be
going to be The Invitation, the
okay.
2022 one,
Yeah, nice. Okay, cool.
because it'll be releasing around Valentine's Day, and it takes
Ooh,
place at a wedding, and that's romantic, and we're
it
out of
is.
50 Shades of Grey movies.
Yes. We'll have to come together and think of another like random like series to
Yeah.
watch or something. It's stupid, but yeah, The Invitation. Excellent. I look forward to watching that.
But I heard from a lot of people, a lot of women, that this movie was mismarketed, much like Jennifer's Body was, where they tried to market it to appeal to the Ready or Not fans, but really they should have marketed it towards the Twilight girlies and the Bridgerton girlies. So very curious what this movie is like.
Yeah.
And speaking of Netflix, there may come a time in the near future that we have to discuss the future of the premise of the podcast.
Oh.
Because, their password sharing bullshit.
Oh, yeah. I was actually thinking a lot about that whenever you did that tweet. And I was like, you know what? We can't just be Netflix anymore. We got to do it all.
Which we have branched out a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe in the event that Netflix are dumb fucks and go through with the password sharing crackdown, and I no longer have Netflix because I don't have my own password anymore. I just bum off my brother-in-law. Right. I'm part of the problem.
I do too. I use my in-laws stuff too. All of it.
We could become
pay for anything.
We could become solely Shudder horror movie reviews.
That would be cool. Do you have a Shudder?
I do have a Shudder.
Do they allow sharing?
Probably, because right now it's only Netflix that has the audacity.
Well, you know what? Nothing's happened with my Netflix yet. Have you been booted off Netflix, or is that supposed to happen?
It's not happening in the US yet because there was such pushback and mass cancellations. Netflix has kind of reeled back right now. They're in the gaslighting phase, saying, no, that wasn't meant for the US yet. It was a mistake. But they had trained their customer service reps to answer these questions. You don't do, because each hub of Netflix has its own customer service base. So why would you train the US to answer these questions if it's not being rolled out soon? Anyway, they're in the gaslight phase of it. I don't think it'll happen. I think right now eggs cost $8 a carton. Netflix is the most. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like,
I don't know how much they cost.
They're pretty expensive. I finally had to splurge and get some at Food City.
Food City.
And it was the organic because the organic was cheaper than the regular.
Oh shit. Yeah.
But eggs are so expensive right now. That's a necessity. Netflix is the most expensive streaming platform. You can't bundle it with other streaming platforms.
Yeah, and also they don't have like good stuff.
They cancel all their good shows.
Right. So none of their originals are good anymore.
As we're entering into this recession, people aren't going to keep Netflix. Like, they're going to look at their other streaming networks and be like, oh, Hulu at its base level is $8 a month. That's fine. And cancel Netflix. Like, it's not a necessity, and they're not even the forefront of the streaming industry the way they were 5 years ago. Because like, I prefer Hulu because they have a better TV selection, for one, and for two, you can bundle it with pretty much everything else.
Right.
So it's all just one thing. Like, we have I think right now we just have HBO Max with it. But like, you can't bundle Netflix with anything. It's just Netflix. You're only paying $20 a month for Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. That's insane.
And they're doing this stupid shit that they did with Stranger Things season 4, where they split the season in half, barely in half, because it was just the last 2 episodes that were split off from the rest of the season, which ruined like the pacing of the season, in my opinion. They've done that with You season 4.
Oh yeah, with like that breakup, like the mid-season like break in half. What is it? Because
they know people are only signing up for a month to watch the show they want to watch, so they're splitting it up to get more money out of them.
Really? That's fucked up.
Yeah.
The fuck?
It is. When really all they need to do is stop canceling the shows people like.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely.
But anyway, that's my soapbox for today, because this podcast was based off of reviewing Netflix because that's what we had access to at the time.
Yeah.
But now I have like
You have everything.
The majority of the other streaming platforms between us.
Yeah, between us, I think we have it all.
Yeah, between the two of us, we have it all. So it doesn't need to be we're reviewing all the horror movies on Netflix. We can just review horror movies available.
Horror movies. Yeah, available in general, like, so whatever's popular. So that sounds good.
Especially with Shudder. I feel like we should get more on Shudder to review trending new horror movies.
Definitely.
Like Skinamarink.
Yeah, Skinamarink. Yeah, because that is on Shudder only. Yes, I'm watching the Vampire Academy trailer. On mute, of course, but just taking a look at these actors here.
Do you approve?
Yeah, except for the other girl. There's one girl. Okay, there's two main girls, and the one vampire is like, she's supposed to be like very pale and blonde hair and blue eyes and very, very tall and thin, and she has like dark hair and like brown hair, and I don't know, that's fine with me, but like I guess it really doesn't matter how she looks, but that look about her, it was what made her stand out in the novels, because she was always upset about the way she was built. Not like a beautiful girl, but tall and thin and weird waif looking. So yeah, I don't know. Everything else is fine. So, but it looks like Julie Pluck did cast a lot of people of color, which is really cool.
That's good. I like seeing growth.
Yeah. Huh?
I like seeing growth.
Yes, and it looks like there's another creator as well. So it's her name is like second next to somebody else, some other woman.
And like even between the Vampire Diaries and the originals, you see a lot more diversity.
Oh, yeah.
Like if there wasn't a lot of diversity in the original, she'd have a big problem since it's set in fucking New Orleans.
Yeah, seriously. And also Vincent may be my favorite character in 3, but in 4 he like changes his hair, so I don't like how he looks anymore.
I did notice different facial hair, and I wasn't sure how to feel.
Way better with a beard. I don't know what it is. It's just his like facial structure. He's very thin. So the beard looks great. But now he shaved it, and I was like, oh, Vincent. Too skinny. But yeah, he's fabulous, and I'm glad he exists.
Yeah, I think he's a fun villain hero.
I don't think he's not a villain. He's a good guy. He's just like not a Mikelson. So they're like, you're bad.
It's hard to decide who's villains and who's heroes in the show, because the Mikelsons have a reason for people hating them so much.
Right. And they basically make everyone their enemy. So then like us as viewers were like, okay, well, like who's the bad guy? Because I liked that person. So now I can't like them.
Yeah.
So it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
But The Invitation, sweet. I definitely watched that, because this weekend is like the Valentine's Day celebration weekend.
It is. I'm seeing Titanic in 3D on Saturday. Oh my God.
I saw Titanic in 3D like years ago.
I did too.
It was so good. You're seeing it again?
Yeah, we probably saw the same, not in the same theater, obviously, but the same re-release, because they re-released it in 3D once for the 100-year anniversary of the sinking, and I still have my little boarding pass from it.
That's one that I saw it like that too, and I thought it was really cool. So,
and this one is for the 25th anniversary of the movie in December, but they held off. But they waited for the re-release until Valentine's Day weekend.
Aw, Showtimes. Let's see if it's. Hey, it's playing near me too. Oh, I should see it again. That's like one of my favorite movies.
So I can do it, especially if it's in a Regal, because it's now in RPX, which is Regal's like version of IMAX kind of. So it'll have the shaky seats. It'll have the vibrating seats. So it'll be like you're really sinking with the ship.
I don't want to be scared.
It was a scary situation.
Listen, people love to, and we'll cut in a minute, but guys, this is the real horror show. We have to talk about it because it really happened. But people love to shit on this movie. But like, I want to let you guys know that James Cameron captured as well as he could what happened, but no one will ever be able to capture the terror of what happened that night and how people just fucking died.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands,
people think I'm messed up for saying, like, if I could travel back in time, I'd travel back and watch the sinking of the Titanic. But it's just so I can grasp the actual horror. God. Because
right.
If James Cameron was 100% accurate, which Titanic, whether or not you like the love story angle of it,
close. Yeah,
it is so close. He was so dedicated to getting it right that he built a scale model of half the Titanic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like historically accurate deleted scenes that they cut for time.
Yeah.
Which I hope one day we get a full director's cut
Blu-ray,
which has never happened. Which has never happened, and it would probably end up being 3.5 hours versus 3 hours and 15 minutes.
I'll watch it. I don't care.
But there's a lot of really good historically accurate scenes that they had to cut. With like Astor and all of those famous people. But if he was 100% accurate, the last scenes, you would not be able to see Jack and Rose at all because it was pitch black in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. So, could you imagine the fright you would feel?
Like,
seeing nothing?
Like, because the lights of the Titanic went out before the ship broke in half, and that's why there were so many conflicting stories from the survivors about the ship breaking in half, because they could only hear it happening. They couldn't see it happening, and that just blows my mind that this huge thing you just hear cracking in half, like
and like, could they hear it well over the fucking screaming of thousands of terrified people, like, you know what I mean, and people around them? I don't know. And it's just there's really cool resources on YouTube where I watched this thing that was circulating on Twitter a while ago, and it was a minute by minute like animation, not like a AI animation of like the Titanic sinking, and you could like watch it for like 4 hours of it like sinking in real time. And it described like everything that was happening minute by minute. It was really cool, but it also had like sound effects and stuff, and it would describe like what possibly you would be hearing. And the most terrifying thing, and I also recently read a book about the Titanic again, but it's the best book that was ever written about like the accident. And they said that whenever the Titanic sunk fully underwater, it was louder because everyone was just fucking screaming, and then after like 30 minutes it like started to stop because people were dying, they're freezing to death. And like that, it's just chilling. It's chilling to read. And so yeah, and if you want to read a really good book about like the Titanic sinking, there's a book called A Night to Remember that I just read.
I've also heard Sea of Glass is really good, but that's more of a history book. I've skimmed A Night to Remember. It's more it's an easier read, but I think Sea of Glass is like a more academic study of what happened.
Cool. I haven't heard of Sea of Glass, but yeah, it's called A Night to Remember.
It's thick as fuck.
Is it? Yeah, this one's shorter. Yeah, this one's more short, and it just begins at like I think the night. It begins on like the night of, but this is a good one if you were looking for something more brief. And it's called A Night to Remember: The Sinking of Titanic by Walter Lord from 2012. And even in here, it really has some details in here that are like every chapter is more upsetting and heartbreaking than the last. But if you want to know what happened and really understand it, this is a good place to start. And I'll look up Sea of Glass too, Sam. That's really interesting. I hadn't heard of that.
Oh, and I've heard one time, and I need to follow up on this because I'm unashamed to be a James Cameron stan. I think he has every right to have the massive ego he has, since he's been down to the Titanic more than any other person. And he was, I think, the first person to get to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Dang, cool.
Is
scary, but cool.
I've heard that being released alongside this re-release, he's putting out a documentary, finally laying to rest that they could have both fit on the door.
Really?
What he's done is he's found two people who are the same age, weight, height, etc. as Kate Winslet and Leo DiCaprio were when they filmed Titanic, and they're recreating the scenario with heart monitors and
Uh-huh.
everything to
Aw.
but like he already proved it when he put in the shot of them trying to get on the door together and it flops over. It's
It
not
flops
about space,
over.
it's about buoyancy, and you're not
Ye-
thinking. I know
right.
Mythbusters was like, well, if they took off their life vests and put them under the door, you're not thinking about that in that moment.
No, in that moment, you're close to death already because you're like freezing to death. Take
So
off your life vest, you'll become colder.
Yeah, I love the level of pettiness to
Me too.
make a documentary.
I'm also very glad that I always forget the fact that you also love the Titanic, because I feel like every time I turn around, there's another person that's like, the movie sucked. It's stupid. I was like, what? Why? No, it's not. Like, no, it's not. It's a great fucking movie. It's like unbelievably accurate. Like, get over yourself.
And like the effects have aged so fucking well.
It looks amazing.
They look so good in 3D, and I'm so excited that David has sullenly agreed to go with me.
Does he like Titanic too?
How
is your spouse when it comes to this? Yeah.
He's only watched it once. And he thinks it's just fine. He agrees that it's aged really well, but he didn't have the Titanic. I don't want to say autism because people are too quick to self-diagnose themselves with autism. But then when I say I watch Titanic every single day after school for an entire year.
Me too. I used to watch it every day.
I think, maybe the doctors missed some things.
Yeah, we had the Titanic fever, dude. But like, I really thought I was the only one that like, I saw it when I was a kid. I loved it. We had the VHS, so it was like the 2 tapes, and I would watch it like every day when I like woke up. It was insane. So I'm glad that you did it too, because it makes me feel like not like a freak.
Should we plan a real horror show field trip to Pigeon Forge and go to the Titanic Museum?
That would be amazing. We should also maybe do an episode about the movie, because real horror show, like for real, that's the realest shit. That's the most terrifying shit. Could you imagine? Like, you just go into your death.
I can't
you can't. That's the point, people. You can't. James Cameron tried to help you, and he like added a love story, which is beautiful. And I'm sure
the love
that was
story
also
helps
happening.
Make it sell.
Right. And also, like, don't forget that like people who were married people had to let go of their wives, like their women, and die. You know what I mean? Like, so like it's realistic in the fact that some people wouldn't go so they could die together. You know what I mean? Like, they did, like, that's really some real shit. So that's why you have to like not look at the movie at face value. You have to really read deeper into it, read a book about it. Like, but if you're not interested, then don't make an opinion about the movie and say it's stupid. This really happened.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's all I have for this week before we get into
before we get to an hour.
Before we get to a 3-hour impromptu Titanic discussion.
Yeah, but I'm glad we talked about it. And also, my spouse is like, he always saw Titanic once too. I'm like, why? It's so like, you know what I mean? Like, we're the same like age almost. So it's like, why did you miss that time? But I didn't. So okay, we're exactly in the same position. So I'm glad we are. Okay.
All right.
Cool, everybody. That's all this week. Go watch The Invitation, the new one on Netflix, before your passwords get messed up or whatever. Hurry. We'll talk about it. Happy Valentine's Day. We'll talk about it next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.